Okay, so I guess Loki episode 2 finally got released, didn't it?
Yes.
Finally got released. It was released on the Wednesday. We're recording this on the Friday. What was it even? I don't know what episode 2 was called. But anyways, I think we should discuss
Variant? Was it called the Variant?
Might be called that. Everyone's going to be wearing that as a Halloween costume now. Such an easy one. Just a jacket, says Variant, little suit, and off you go. So my first thing I want to say is so we got the reveal that we have Lady Loki.
Yeah.
Do you think she's the true villain of Loki?
No.
Yeah, I think I agree as well that I think there's going to be a bigger villain.
By the end of this, she'll grow to be like an anti-hero type, like Loki himself.
Yeah, I can totally see it. I think it's more going to be the Time Variance Authority are actually the true villains all along. That perhaps the woman that is above Mobius is, the villain, and maybe the Timekeepers are all smoke and mirrors, and she's got her own plans at play, and maybe Lady Loki's already worked that out.
So you don't think that the Timekeepers are actually real things? You don't think the Timekeepers are time?
No, I don't. I think this is going to be like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing.
That's very
all
possible.
Smoke and mirrors. It's just when shows set stuff up like this, you just feel they don't seem real. It doesn't seem right. There's just it's this power behind the scenes, but you never get to see them. And even when Loki and Mobius have a chat, it's kind of like he's explained it like it's his religion in a kind of thing. He just believes that these Timekeepers are sorting out the timeline, and then that's it. We're done, and I get to rest, essentially.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not free, but I do think that Kang is involved here. I know you're going to probably laugh at me, right? But I do feel like Kang is doing something here.
There has been talks that one of the Timekeepers does look a little bit like Kang.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They are throwing it. If your theory is true, then they're throwing Kang in my face still, right? Because you know that scene between Mobius and the woman who works above him, when they're having that conversation in her office in episode 2, there's a literally 10-second period where the camera is just zoomed in on the middle variant, right? The middle Timekeeper, sorry. And it is Kang. There's not a debate, it is Kang.
And where's Mephisto in the 3?
Mephisto is not one of the 3, but if you look carefully, you can see this fly. It was actually his first appearance in...
it's his second appearance now.
Yeah, I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. But I'm telling you, this isn't even speculation. One of those things is Kang.
I could see, something being set up like that. The series director has spoken about cameos and said, get ready, there will be some. It's going to be pretty mad. Because you can go anywhere with this, and obviously they're saying that this Disney Plus series, compared to the other series, you didn't need to watch them, but this you do. So I really do hope they lean heavy into the MCU. Because right now I felt both the series we've got, WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, you could not watch them and still understand what's going on in the MCU. Because they haven't felt properly connected, similarly to Daredevil. That didn't feel connected. So I do hope they go some more interesting places. I thought they were going to go Ragnarok in this, so I hope they do go back to Ragnarok.
Oh, how cool would that be?
Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic. And they're hinting towards, there's going to be some big cameos, so get ready. I think episode 3 might be another kind of exposition one, talk a little bit about time, what's going on. Tom Hiddleston did an interview recently, and he said when reading the script, episode 4 and 5 is where it goes in a real unexpected direction. Cool. And things get a bit crazy. And he said he wasn't expecting it to go this way. He's really excited for those episodes to be released. So I think episode 3 is going to be another kind of slow burner one. Maybe we're going to learn more. I think it's going to be more like we're going to learn about Lady Loki, kind of what she's up to, what she wants to do, and then maybe a bit of Mobius going around sorting out the the branching timelines. I reckon her Lady Loki's motivations are noble in a sense. I reckon she's kind of like, I just want to fuck up this timeline so everyone has like freedom of choice and anything is possible. Because it seems like the way they've described everything's like there's no freedom of choice and everything is just supposed to happen.
Didn't she say when they were discussing what she wanted to do with the Timekeepers, or she knows where the Timekeepers are? She knows how to get to the Timekeepers. She said that, didn't she?
Something like that. I thought she was like, I'm not really interested in them.
Yeah,
like,
but then she also said like she knows how to find the Timekeepers.
Yeah, because one of the TVA agents she stole, she kidnapped, said, "Oh yeah, I told her where." Yeah. How to get to them. But it seems like no one really knows who the Timekeepers are. Like Mobius, like I've never met them. And
So Loki says to her his plan is to literally overrun the Timekeepers. And then she literally laughs it off and is just like, that's not my game here, sort of thing. Like,
yeah, I felt from their conversation, she was like, I'm not really interested in Timekeepers. Maybe because she's latched on there it's all smoke and mirrors. It's just a bunch of bullshit, to keep everyone in line. And maybe she's like, I just want the universe to be a bit mental because everything's predetermined, so fuck this, I'm just going to drop these grenades.
I wonder which one of those timelines which goes crazy at the end is the multiverse of madness.
Yeah, well, haven't they said pretty much every series like leads into multiverse of madness?
Honestly, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, you couldn't think they could have like that is the perfect way of lining it up, isn't it? But it will probably, I don't even know anymore, to be honest with you.
Best thing, this series makes me scratch my head and say like, oh yeah, everything's predetermined. There's one timeline, so there's no multiverse. I don't understand how it works. And when the Avengers went back in time, didn't that create a new branching timeline? And then they're like, oh, but that was supposed to happen. I'm like, but didn't that fuck things up?
Yeah, that's exactly how I was thinking watching this. Like, and I was thinking, am I being really dumb here? Because I'm literally watching a Marvel show and I don't quite understand the rules as of yet.
I think it's kind of a thing of don't think about it.
This is it's
kind of like they did. It's kind of like they did it in Endgame, wasn't it? It was when they said, well, can't we just kill baby Thanos? So like, that's not how it works. Just don't think about it. Like, it doesn't change anything. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it. I've been getting a few comments on YouTube, people not enjoying the show, actually, saying that nothing has happened over the 2 episodes. I mean, what do you think? Do you feel like enough story has been told?
Well, I came out of the first episode feeling quite underwhelmed. I'm not going to be entirely honest. I felt quite underwhelmed by the first episode. I thought just another typical Marvel sort of show. It didn't really give me much. It didn't give me much. But I now quite like the direction we're going in. I thought episode 2 for me, it was definitely an upgrade on the first episode. And I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very much enjoying it. First, like I always say, you got to look at these series as like 3-act structures. We've just had the setup, first 2 episodes. Now it's like what they fighting against, and then episode 5 and 6, big laser battle in the sky, which is how all Marvel films and these series end. With everyone flying about.
I don't want that to happen. I just
don't.
I don't want it to happen.
I tell you what, I would really like to see, which they alluded to, is they've spoken about that essentially all the variants they've been capturing over the years. The most variants they've been capturing are Lokis.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went through all the different variation of Lokis. And first one went, isn't that a multiverse? Because you had like a Hulk Loki.
Mm-hmm.
You had some like weird demon Loki. You had one that was dressed as a cyclist, an athlete Loki.
Yeah.
I hope they do that. They show all these different Lokis. I would love that. Like, it's just something a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I'm hoping they show all these versions of Lokis. And we still haven't seen Richard E. Grant, who's also been cast in this series. And I think he's going to be like a older, wiser Loki who's kind of like, I kind of in the end, achieved what I wanted to do, which was like, rule, I guess. He just wants to be a ruler, doesn't he? He's like, but it wasn't really worth it in the end. Perhaps that's Richard E. Grant's role. I don't know, but I can imagine that's kind of a role he'd do.
Interesting. Yeah,
So,
man.
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I've got nothing to add.
No, literally, I was just saying, like, yeah, just like I said, I don't. Do you think his character arc at the end of this show will be like he's kind of redeemed himself, or do you feel like there's a possibility by at the end of the show they kill him off? Like, what do you think they're going to do?
I don't think they'll kill him off because they're already talking about doing a series 2, aren't they?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think maybe because I did a video a while back saying like the one thing I'm worried about this series is you're taking the Loki from Avengers, who was still a bad guy, and by the end of the MCU, he'd kind of come full circle and he was a good guy, and he wasn't really mischievous, and he wouldn't stab you in the back. He'd kind of gotten over that pretty much, I guess. And then we're picking up basically where he began. It's like, oh god. And then episode 1 just showed him a montage of his greatest hits, and he was like, oh, okay, maybe I am a good bloke in the end. So it's kind of like, where do you take the character? Because we can't go through that arc again.
Yeah.
But my theory is maybe it's like, because Coulson once said you lack conviction, and it's always like, I mean, I just said like he doesn't really know what he wants. He wants to rule people, but then he's like, what do I do now? And perhaps it'll be a case of the TVA will give him purpose, and maybe he's like, actually, I quite like hanging around with Owen Wilson and capturing people.
I think look, actually, for him watching the video of that montage probably sped that process up massively, and seeing his mother die, I think that may have been a real like
he did well. Moment. He got 10 years worth of character development from a
there you go
from a 2-minute montage video.
Exactly.
And
exactly. So that's Marvel's game, innit? So they've basically sped
well, they
up.
said, we got to make him the Loki that died. So let's get him up to that point. Let's just get him up to speed. So it's like, so now he's just basically the same character. He's not that character. He's not the character from Avengers. He's regular Loki now.
Yeah. So the guy literally, comes out off the back of Avengers, and in the space of like a day, he now realizes that like he betrays his brother like fucking 1,000,000 times. His actions essentially kill his mother, and Asgard has now been destroyed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you think about it, 24 hours before, he gouged that man's eye out in the first Avengers film, and the next day he was like, I'm a good guy now, actually.
I can't remember when he got...
You don't remember that?
No.
He gouged a man's eye out.
Seriously?
He loved it. Yeah. To get into the building, they gouged the eye, and then he put it up against the wall. And they were like, there you go.
Can't remember. I must have seen the first Avengers film quite a long time ago. I can't remember. The only thing of Loki I can really remember massively in that is when, I think he's in Berlin, and he's just like, kneel, and he makes everyone like kneel to him. Do you know, that's literally the... Yeah. And Hulk obviously smashing the absolute shit out of them at the end of the movie. But...
So like, I am enjoying the series. I am very thoroughly enjoying it. I want to see them go weirder and wilder places, and I want to see it go into more of the wider MCU. I saw someone that had a good theory, like they should do Steve Rogers. They should show what he was up to, like, because he's the one who's messed around with time the most. He jumped around and was putting time stones back, and then he was like, fuck it, I'm going to a parallel universe and just living my life with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
Maybe the Time Variance Authority will show up when he's having a dance with Peggy and be like, no.
I love that.
No, Steve, you're coming with us.
There's got to be ramifications for his actions. Kang has to show up.
I think it's basically going to turn out the TVA just basically stop the variants that they can be bothered to do, because when they're like, oh well, the Avengers were messing around with time, well that was supposed to happen, you just couldn't be bothered to police that. I reckon you just couldn't be fucking asked.
I agree.
So I think it's gonna go away that you question the TVA and their motives. They're taking away free will, it appears. everything's certain in life, so this Lady Loki is like, well, let's make it that anything could happen. It's not just based on what these fucking weirdos tell you who just wear SWAT team gear and hit you with a stick.
Yeah.
Anything else that you liked about this episode or commented on?
To be honest, there's not really much more for me to say. There isn't really, is there? Like, we don't really know that much as of yet, do we? Like,
not currently, no. I guess because the first two it's all set up. There's a lot of exposition in this. Like, you have Loki walking into the tent with Mobius, and he's asking him questions, and it's explaining that to the audience. And again, the first episode was like, previously in the MCU, Loki killed his mother accidentally, and then Thanos choked him to death. And you're like, yep, I've seen the MCU. I've been alive.
All I would add to you is one thing is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being definitely, 1 being no. What is Kang going to show up before the end of the show?
5. I'm unsure.
That is the worst answer.
Yeah, but you're a 10, so what's the point?
I'm not a 10. I think he's definitely involved in everything, but I don't think he's going to necessarily show up. Because they cast Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp, haven't they? And they haven't said anything about him being that actor playing a part at all in this. So
yeah, but you could just CGI him, couldn't you? Just CGI him in. He could stand a voice booth. Just say a few lines. Like, there was all this when he first walks into the TVA, and they've got the sculptures. It's in the trailer as well, of all the faces, the 3 faces. Someone was saying, I was reading this comment, and someone was like, they have literally crafted that middle face to make it look like the face of the actor who was playing Kang. Oh, so you're good on the theories, aren't you?
I'm obsessed with Kang for some reason. I don't know why. I've got I had something else to say to you actually, but I can't actually remember what it was. It couldn't have been too important.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with this episode. But what's your predictions for episode 3? What do you think's going to happen in episode 3?
Before we get to that, I remember what I was going to say to you actually. What did you make of the whole part in the church when he goes into the church and he's talking to that little girl, and they purposely have the stained window of the devil on the back, and she says, "What did he look like?" And she points up to the demon. What was your thoughts on that? Did you make anything of that?
I just thought it was saying like Loki's pretty evil, pretty bad. I think the director's even spoken about it. It's like, it's not Mephisto. All right.
No. I'm not implying. I'm not implying it was. I'm just curious because
and she said like, oh well, the horns, and the little girl boy was liking it to Loki, and the massacre was like, oh, this must be the devil.
Okay, cool. That's literally all I wanted to ask.
So your predictions for episode 3?
I don't know. I think we're going to get a very long period, like it's kind of we did in WandaVision, like the Agatha episode. I think we're going to get a lot of Loki, female Loki, and Loki speaking. Yeah,
I think we're going to get basically an episode of them two walking around, talking with one another, and they're going to be like, "I'm Lady Loki, and this is my plan, and Loki, come with me. Let's." And I reckon they're going to be going through like different times, and I think we'll be ending up on Asgard. It's already been shown in the trailers, Odin's throne. So I can imagine, I can imagine that they're like, well, this like Lady's like this is where I came from, and it's all fucked up here now. I wasn't allowed to, whatever say like, it could be a case of Lady Loki's like, I tried to save Asgard, but TVA said you're not allowed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and we should be able to stop things or allow things to play out. We shouldn't be told by these apparent 3 timekeepers what is right and wrong, what gives them the right. So I reckon it's going to be a lot of that, just kind of walking through and understanding who this Lady Loki is, and the TVA running around trying to stop all these branching timelines, really.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how the series will end. That maybe TVA will look at themselves and go, maybe we are a bunch of bastards. Owen Wilson probably have a moment of tranquility, and I think that's my prediction anyway.
Oh, cool. Very good. Very good. I'm with you on that.